Welcome back to another episode of Art of the Float, where float setters thrive. My name is Dylan. I own the float shop in Portland, Oregon with my lovely, lovely wife. Yeah, that's right. This is a video podcast, so everybody can see these beautiful, beautiful, silly faces. And let's see here. I'm starting to use lists, but mostly I use my calendar app for my just time management organization in my life.
And my name is Gloria Morris, and I'm coming in hot with new audio equipment. I hope you guys all admire it. I use the Google Calendar and Google Tools for everything. I'm sure you're shocked, but that's how I manage my life.
Weird, because you work at Apple. I don't understand.
Ooh, no, I don't. And that's me.
Go.
This is Drew from New Hampshire Float. I use my phone for time management, but I also try not to use my phone. So I often end up not looking at my phone, thus missing things that I should be doing and my reminders. And especially if I'm at the shop, I just have all the notifications off. So yeah, I try to use my phone. I'll say it like that.
And I'm Kim Hannon. I own Sukino Float Center in Salt Cave in Southern Indiana. And I use all of the time management, project management, task management tools. All of them. All of them.
I have a question for you. This is part of my problem. Then you spend all your time using all these things to manage your time, and then you get less time getting stuff done.
Yes and no. Yes and no. If you choose the right one and you set up a system that works for you, it basically runs itself, but you have to invest some time in it. Although I am trying a new time management tool that uses AI.
Oh my God.
And it tells me what to do. And if I don't do everything in the day that I'm supposed to do, I don't have to do anything. It just automatically reschedules everything for me.
Wow.
And I'm sort of in love with that.
Let's get back to that part.
Yeah.
Let's
get
to that later. First of all, counterpoint to your claim, Drew, of that taking up too much time. Look at how much Kim gets done. Look at how efficient she is. So that's my counterpoint.
I was going to say the same. Yeah.
I think we can kind of make judgments on who's better at time management and based off simply their answers of what we use for organization.
Hilarious, I don't feel like I'm good at it, though. Like, that's why I need the tools, is because I'm really quite terrible. And I'm totally time blind. If it's something that I love to do, I will tell you it takes an hour. But in reality, I've been doing it for like 6 or 7 hours. But in my head, I just started it. Like, So I have to have these tools in order to actually get things done. And
well, if I may, as of the recording of this is an hour after the FTA Roundtable that was streamed to the Float Collective. Check that out. We'll put the link in bio. It's actually really, really cool. Meet everybody who does consulting and also just like creates material for the float industry. But anyway, I wouldn't have been there if Kim hadn't messaged me about it. Or maybe it was Drew. I forget. But I thought it was 6 p.m. instead of 3 p.m. Pacific Standard. And so I just fumbled with that one. Showed up on time, and then I was late for the podcast. I was having dinner with the family. My alerts, my calendar was going off. I was getting text messages, "Where are you?" But I was literally ignoring them. It wasn't on silent. I was like, whoever's reaching out to me can get me later. Okay, this is my family time. It's like, oh no, my family time ended 20 minutes ago.
But to be fair, you're normally on time for the podcast. We were actually worried about you. Right. We do normally have a couple of minutes of fluff at the beginning, but we were worried after 20 some minutes that you weren't here. But normally this is a high priority to you and you show up on time. Right. Do you guys find that depending upon where it is on your priority list, you're either on time or you're not?
Yes. Yeah. Because I will sweat, like picking up my daughter from school, like being on time and making sure my face is there is really important to me. So I start looking at my phone to see the calendar alert long before it ever goes off. So, yeah. I think Kim is like...
Yeah, it's different for me. It's not about priority. I think it's really about like the implications if I am late. Like if I have a doctor's appointment or if I know somebody else is waiting for me, like I'm on time. But if it's an arbitrary deadline, an arbitrary time for something, forget it. And like my brother-in-law so sweetly made a little customized mug for me for Christmas. It's the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, always running late. And because whenever it comes to family stuff, they tell us to be there at a certain time for things. And like, it's super stressful getting the kids out the door. And I'm not going to stress about that kind of stuff to get somewhere when we're not really doing anything at that time except hanging out. And so we show up when we show up. But if somebody's waiting for me, I'm there. I'm on time. Always. So.
How about you, Gloria?
I just want to stick up for those of us with ADHD, and it's difficult to
pretty much, yeah.
It's all of us.
I miss things, but it will be because something came up. There's a fire I got to put out, and I'm fighting that fire, and I'm just fully into it. And 3 hours later, I realize I missed a Zoom meeting, right? And I think when you're juggling a lot, that happens, even with the best intentions to be at everything and do everything and meet every deadline. And I think that part of that is kind of by nature for maybe entrepreneurs / at least us. I feel like we all have a lot on our plates and we do a lot of things. So we don't have a 9-to-5 job and then all this extra time, right? Which we got a million things in the air, and a lot of other people play a factor into what happens to what we do. So then we think something's happening and someone else's plans change, which has to cause your plans to change. And it can be a hectic day, right? Sometimes I'm just mentally exhausted at the end of the day. I just need to be quiet and fall asleep. Call it a day.
You know, Drew, it's really funny that you said earlier that like when you're at the shop, you turn off all your notifications, everything. I'm the same way. And so if I'm at the shop, like you can text me, you can do whatever you want. I don't care. It doesn't exist in my mind. And I do the same thing when I'm traveling, like attending float conference and or if I'm attending anything really, wherever I am, I try to be fully present wherever I am. And part of that means turning off notifications. And so sometimes I'll miss things like that, but I try to plan those things on a whole different day than if I need to like really dedicate my time and attention to something specific. And I find that really helps me, you know, when my average day, I'm hopping on and off calls, I'm doing work on my own. I'm looking at reports, I'm jumping around to things. I have a whole bunch of different things. And usually that time is pretty flexible, but I do have a lot of meetings, you know, for FloatCon or hopping onto things like the FTA call, that sort of stuff. And I think really just the years in the corporate world really prepped me for that. But like I live and die by my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. And that's the number one thing. Every time my husband tells me that we have something planned or he's got an appointment or something that he has to do, did you put it on the calendar? Did you put it on the calendar? Like, I don't care what it is. Did you put it on the calendar? Like the immediate, if it's not on the calendar, doesn't exist, don't care about it, not going to happen. And you can tell me a million times, but I will not remember it if it's not on the calendar.
What she said. I don't even need to talk because that's exactly. Yeah. I live and die by my calendar.
For sure.
Like for everything.
Is
I even
Google
put my
calendar.
I do use Google Calendar, and
even
my 7 a.m. meditation is in my calendar. Yeah. So everything. I live a very structured life. Very little is free and just open, and I envy people who can live that way. I kind of want less structure sometimes. So when I do take time off, like if I go on vacation, I don't want any structure. Yes, I totally take a vacation. I don't want to plan anything. I'm like fly by the seat of my pants, but my normal professional life, day to day, is all on the books. And
everything.
And for me, I do have a 9-to-5 job. So I actually have 2 calendars, one that manages my 9-to-5 job, and it's very structured and I put everything in there. But I also have my personal phone, which is also my Float 60 phone, off to the side during my day. So I'm very compartmentalized as well. So that's It's tough. And my husband, like, same. I'm such a bitch when it comes to, like, if he's late, I'm psycho. Can we just talk about being late or not late for a minute?
What is late to you?
Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, Dylan.
No.
Not
Dylan
an attack on you.
You know what? And okay, for the purposes of this conversation, I'm excluding you, Dylan. Like, this is not what I'm talking about. Do not feel guilty. But I'm talking like on a regular basis. Do you have respect for the clock? Like, what time is the 3:00 parade? It's at 3:00, right? It's like, don't show up at 3:01. You should show up at 2:50. You're early, right? If you're not early, you're late. I believe that, and I get anxiety if I'm late. Like, I freak out inside. So we just fired someone after working 2 days. 2 days.
Wow.
They were late 2 days in a row.
Wow.
And we let them go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's rough.
Okay. Sorry. Off the soapbox. Yep.
No,
Yep.
I'm a big fan of being on time, and I'm also a big fan of being early. And if you're on time, you're late. If you're not on time, if you're not early, you're late. And
Dylan, say that again.
If you, oh man, it's one time. Wow. So I was late. It's true. It's true. I was late, but I have this thing about it because in high school, or maybe we had just graduated, maybe it was that summer or something like that. Everybody was planning a big camping trip, and they told me to be there an hour before everybody else. And I showed up an hour before. For the first time ever, I showed up on time because camping was a big deal. And they were like, "We're still having breakfast." Like, they didn't expect me to be there. And that I was just like, arrow in the heart. Like, this sucks. And ever since then, I've really been. When there are other people involved, I want to be there on time. And instilling in my kids, we show up early. We're going to be there on time. Showing up late is, disrespectful. Drew?
My daughter.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of you guys about all of this. It's hard with my time. I just had that conversation with someone at my float center today who owns a wellness center in Massachusetts and was checking out the floats, and having limited time already makes it difficult when now, someone shows up a half hour late, 45 minutes late, no shows. Yeah, I don't like it. I try not to do it.
Yeah, I think, managing your time for appointments is one thing. And to some degree, that can be a little bit easier just because you feel so guilty. But I think another piece of it is figuring out the little day-to-day stuff. And even like Gloria mentioned, putting meditation on your calendar. Like that, I struggle so much because I hate the notion of telling that I have to put that on the calendar, but I do. If I don't take a break, stretch, meditate, move, I will sit in this chair for 8 or 10 hours doing my work. And so I've actually built that in. I have daily reminders that tell me to get up and move. Yeah. I have this wonderful tool that I'm using now has an AI feature that it actually blocks off my calendar right after a meeting. And so I have 15 minutes time after every meeting just to give me a moment to go take a break, to rest, to process, to do whatever I need to do after that call. And it's amazing. And I have, a daily reminder to move my body for 15 minutes, just get up out of my chair and go do something, whether it's walk around the house, walk around the neighborhood. I don't care. It might be stepping onto my yoga mat, which is on the other side of my office. Just something to remind me to get up and move, because I will forget. I'll get so bogged down in the tasks and the appointments that I forget the self-care. And so I do have to manage that and to plan that too. Those are the ones that I'm usually late for, or then I hit the snooze button, and then try to come back around. But if I notice that it's been, a couple of days and I've been skipping that particular piece, then I know that I need to do something better. And it might be texting a friend saying, hey, check in with me at 3:00. By that time, I should have done X, Y, and Z. And having somebody to hold you accountable is so huge. I did that the whole time when I used to run long distances. If I didn't get up and run in the morning, which I am not a morning person, but that was the only time I could fit it in my day, I posted that if I did not post on Facebook and tell people, that I had just finished my run, that I would buy them a cup of coffee. Like, I wanted people to hold me accountable. And so I had friends in other states who were messaging me like, hey, I haven't seen your update today. You owe me coffee.
That's great.
It was awesome. Yeah. So finding little tools to help other people hold you accountable. There's also services out there like FocusMate. I don't know if you've heard of that. FocusMate is an app where like you can have someone who is literally like there to hold you accountable and watching to make sure that you're doing work and you're returning the favor for them.
Wow.
So there's a lot of really cool ways to kind of hack your time.
All right. Thanks. And yeah, by the way, community, like holding you accountable is, I think, a really good one. Like, I'm not drinking this month. I've got my buddies. They're all in the know. I had to let them know beforehand. And similarly, working out, whether it's the wifey, the friends, talking about it, making sure that it's a priority. And when you fail, then, it feels like you're letting the group down a little bit,
right.
when you don't get it done.
Mm-hmm. So I got to tell you, I'm in like a live-in mode these days, I think, because I'm just like, if I can go train, I go train, right? If I can make it. But whatever's happening that day kind of dictates if I get to go work out at night. And my days are really unpredictable, so it's difficult to, it kind of, the shop is first, and then everything else is after that. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how my day goes, right? So I might get stuck at the shop, which I have been a lot lately. So now it's hard to manage time because, well, it's not so hard. I'm at the shop. It's pretty easy to manage time. There's not much else I can do outside of that. But it's definitely difficult when I'm there for 16 hours and like I'm working. There's constantly stuff going on, so I'm not getting other stuff done. So that makes it challenging. So I don't have all the answers on this one, that's for sure.
Well, I was just going to say, as structured as I am so lacking in self-care. And I put it on my calendar and then I skip it. So just because it's there doesn't mean it always gets done, right? And
so share that to my calendar as well, so I can be like, hey, you getting on that rowing machine?
Well, I mean,
there you go.
No kidding. So Sunday I stopped in to Fluid 60. Usually on the weekends I'll pop in, and I brought one of my team members coffee, and she's recently been on a wellness journey. And I'm like, listen, Kara, I will do anything. Even accounting and bookkeeping is more appealing to me than going to work out right now. Like, I would rather stick my head in QuickBooks and categorize expenses than go to the gym. Something's wrong. So, like, the next day, she must have told Leslie, who's now, like, my right arm at Fluid 60, and Leslie literally said, tomorrow morning I'm picking you up at 8:30 and you're going to the gym with me.
Whoa.
And I was like, okay, done. I'm going.
Nice.
And I can't move today because I'm super sore. But yeah, like I need to do a better job at executing on the things. And this is why I asked, going back to my question about what you prioritize, because I can fit a million things in the calendar, but are they the right things? And I think that when I think about time management, I consider myself to really suck, because I feel like it's imbalanced time management. I will stick my head into, a book and just completely like immerse myself on something that isn't providing the value that I need to take care of myself at the same time, So I think we get in that flow state. To your point, Kim, like you could be in your chair and you think it's an hour and 10 hours have gone by. That's like what crazy people like us, I think, do. And I don't know if it was you. I remember talking about this a couple of years ago. Was it you that was talking about the Pomodoro clock timer? Yeah. So,
and I presented that at the Float conference.
Yes. So that's another, time management technique that makes you get up away from your desk and to just change it. Whether it's doing something productive for yourself or not is another story. But yeah, I definitely need help in balancing because like I said, I'd rather do accounting. then do something.
Can we pause here and break that down? So I do want to talk about like what are the apps. I mean, you mentioned the suite of wonderful Google products that are available to all of us, but I also want to talk about like let's break that down first before you're even putting it into your apps and your calendars and all that stuff. I mean, I think all of us have like multiple gigs going on. None of us are just running a float center. So how do you start prioritizing from there? Drew's doing more work at the shop right now. I don't know, like I was moving salt and stuff like that, but for the most part or helping train somebody close last night, but for the most part I'm not there that much. You, Gloria, you seem very hands-on. It seems like almost every day you're popping into one of your locations.
Oh no, not at all.
Oh, it's not like that? Okay.
Not even close.
Oh, not since you've had your
no,
management?
like yeah. I mean on the weekends, but not even sometimes.
Oh,
like
wow.
sometimes
Really?
I
Okay.
like today I was in River North just because I was in Chicago for my real job and I popped in and I probably haven't been there in a month.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I
didn't
very
realize that.
rarely
Okay.
go to Lake Zurich. I mean, sometimes it kind of comes in spurts, right? But no, I mean, for me, I'm very much like an absentee owner, to be honest with you. Like I am. I mean, that's just the fact. Like I have a
Well,
full-time
do they
job.
feel that way?
No, I'm sure they would like me to be less present because virtually I'm there all the time. They're like we communicate all the time,
Okay.
and I manage that. But I have really good people in place, so I don't feel the need to micromanage at all.
Yeah,
I
don't
never
think you're
really
absentee.
have. But of course, my head is always like thinking about stuff. But no, like during the day, like Monday through Friday, I am like focused on my real work. I've always been very able to compartmentalize, right? But yeah.
Okay. And Kim, you have gotten away from your center a little bit, right? Like
A little bit, yeah.
And Graham is
Yep. I'm usually there one day a week, and so the center itself, for the most part, runs pretty smoothly. I'm still working on the center, but not at it. So I'm doing, obviously our marketing, I'm doing all of our supply ordering, I'm checking in, with our local partners, things like that. I'm, looking at the numbers, seeing how we're doing, where do we need to spend our efforts, where do I need to, communicate things that need to be done for the team. And I'm able to look at things, not be in them. And that is so helpful. And I really am hoping, when we hire one more person, that I won't even be there on Sundays. I'll just go in as needed, and schedule specific days that I'm going to be there. And I also now schedule my floats instead of, just popping in whenever time permits or that sort of thing. I have to start like booking them ahead because number one, we're busy. Number two, if I don't put it on my calendar and treat myself like I would any other guest, then that can be a problem. But a lot of it is really being able to look at things from a big picture and figure out this is the big picture of what I want in my life, what I want for my business, and then starting to slice it up and recognize the little parts that go into that. And if you have ADHD, that is a challenge. Right. I'm thankful that that's where part of my career came in handy, that I was a project manager and I took, tons of training on this stuff on how to look at something huge and break it up into these little bitty pieces. Because for me, if I just see the little pieces, I don't really care. I'm not going to do it. Like, I want to see the big picture. What's the impact of this? If you think about, and that's part of what I ended up loving about running long distances. I hated running. Like, you're never going to get me to do it. And then all of a sudden one day I just took off and decided to go run. And then I started training for longer and longer distances. And what I loved about it is knowing that day in the future, I am going to be miserable if I don't do this little thing right now.
Okay,
and if I don't do my 3-mile run today, if I don't do my speed training today, if I don't do my recovery today, whenever I get to that day in the future, like future me is going to hate me. Yeah. And I think, being able to look at everything with that sort of a lens is really, really helpful. Looking at all the little parts of running a business. If you think about just, I have to run the shop today. Well, that means a lot. Like, there's a lot of little things you have to do. And so I do a lot with checklists. I do a ton of different tools. And Drew was asking earlier, like, at what point are you just managing all of your tools and, taking all of the time to put stuff in there? And for me, I look at like I put everything in one tool. If it's an idea, this brilliant thing I want to do, I put it in the tool because I need to get it out of my head.
What tool?
And then
when you
once
say
a week.
The tool.
Yes, I have lots, but typically it's my project management tool.
Okay,
so I have
it's
one
not
that's
Notepad in your phone.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it's not for my big picture stuff and my like random ideas that come up. My day-to-day stuff, there's the concept of open and closed. That stuff that goes in my project management tool is closed. I can't see it unless I actively go looking for it. But I have this notepad here. Actually, let me show you a blank notepad that I write down all of my like day-to-day stuff. And this has the 5 days of the week. If you're watching on video, you can see I'm showing it has all of the work days plus the weekends are there. Has my priorities, and then there's some daily habits as well. But I list my priorities at the top, and then any little tasks that I need to do. And this is like I need to look at this every single day. It sits right in front of me on my desk. And that helps me to kind of stay on track. But if something else comes up, I throw it in my system, in my project management app. And then on Mondays, I sit down with my project management app and look at it and say, here are the 26 things I added last week that I thought were great ideas. Are they really important? Because if they are, I'll prioritize it to be done this week or let it sit there until another day. And that process, I am investing an hour to 2 hours a week in getting things really, really clear on what I need to accomplish. Okay. And if I don't need to do it, like it goes in the back burner and it can sit there and I feel okay because I have my notes in there that I'm not going to forget about this amazing, important idea that I came up with. But it's not a priority. And so I don't have to do that right now.
So we'll put a link in, probably like an Amazon affiliate link for the week scheduler or like brainstormer scheduler. And then what is the other, your program that you're talking about?
So I use a couple. My main one is Plutio. And I use Plutio because it does task management. It also does like invoicing and proposals and all sorts of time tracking, all of that sort of stuff. So I need that to run Mindful Solutions and to, keep all of my consultants on track. We all use that particular tool. I send out like surveys to my clients, intake forms and things like that are there. It holds our documents, like it does everything. So it's kind of like that all-in-one business management suite. But what Plutio doesn't do, I can assign deadlines for things, and I love that, and I get reminders and all of that. But in reality, like a lot of times I don't get to those things. So I decided to try another app. And if you heard me speak at FloatCon, I admitted that I am a total software geek and I will try all the apps in the world to solve my problems. And so after FloatCon, I got back and found another app. It's called Motion, and it uses AI, where basically I plug in my tasks and I can tell it if I have a soft deadline, a hard deadline, no deadline. If it's a soft deadline, I can pick like the next 2 to 3 weeks or the next 2 to 3 months. I can tell it all of that. But it also syncs with my calendar, which is really cool. And all of the tasks that I put in, it drops as like an overlay on my calendar and schedules them. So it's not just that I need to do it. It's telling me that I need to do this particular task on Wednesday at 12 o'clock. And if I don't hit complete, it reschedules it for me. And I'm like mind blown. I also get to set limits on, I only want to have 3 hours a day dedicated to meetings. And after a meeting, I need a 15-minute buffer. And so it has a lot of really cool, smart features. It's new to the market. Like it is a brand new tool. But I'm one of their early adopters. And so far I'm loving what it can do because it's telling me what to do. And I need that too.
Yeah. It's almost like a virtual assistant helping you manage your time. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, keep us posted on that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure you have a referral code.
Yeah,
I do.
Please. I would like that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I have virtual assistants who help me with Mindful Solution stuff, but I need them focused on some tangible work where I have these ideas about things I need to do or just something that, at some point I should probably do this or I want to send this to somebody. And those are things that like I don't want to have my VAs telling me to do that kind of stuff. I have AI to do that now, and that's pretty cool. So,
Jeezy crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So Drew, where are you at?
I was just going to ask, how do you guys feel right now? I feel completely incompetent.
Yeah.
Big
I feel that every day.
Loser. Yeah. Just big L on my forehead.
I would find myself just not taking the time to put everything in. I just go. Like that's, I think part of my problem is once I get up, I'm like full steam ahead and life's about to happen and I'm jumping on and going for a ride. And I do my best to manage as best I can, try not to hurt anybody. But it's like my shop, my dogs, everything else, and I do the best that I can with that. But I don't know. As you're talking, I'm like, that's a lot to me to sit down and
it's
do
not
that.
for
I write
everyone.
Lists down.
Yeah.
I'll make little lists at the beginning of a day and then I'll forget the list at home, leave the house. And when I get home, I'll be like, oh, did I do that? I did that one.
Oh, funny.
So that's more my MO. So shout out to the free spirits out there who are just doing the best they can, moving through life.
Everybody does get that dopamine drip from crossing off when you write with pen and paper, pencil. Putting that strike through feels good. It's so dumb. It's so basic. But
it's like setting goals, and those are ways to set goals. And I do like to set goals, and I'm a dreamer, and I like to set goals. I mean, that's how I ended up owning a float shop.
Right. Yep.
So those are, I'm constantly, but I'll end up with a whole bunch of piles of stuff, of notes, and they're written on the back of everything, an envelope. There you go. Kim's holding up all of her notes.
Yeah, you grab mine too. Yep.
And like some might
fell off
drip
disappointing, Kim.
When are they going to be looked at?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
but it is good to pick one up and be like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
This is all, and then you can throw that out. That is
exactly.
A good feeling.
That's fun too. Throwing these little, and that's why I use scrap paper. So the back of this is actually my weekly to-do list. And after the week's over, I tear it in 4, use it as scrap paper. And then I get super excited when I get to throw one in the trash.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Change compromised password 2017. Okay. Yeah, I should look at these more often.
Look at that a little bit.
Well, some schools of thought on doing notes like that are that it's a procrastination technique too. So there's a different group of people who, do not function well with that approach. So, we're not judging, but for me, I don't do as well if I write it down first versus putting it straight in. So I just basically and I've been a software geek my whole life and a tool geek my whole life. But I have found that the more complex my life has become, the more simplistic I need it to be. And so I basically do live by my calendar and I use tasks within my calendar and that's it. I'm not using anything fancy. But if I write something down, I do find that it's almost a way to say, okay, I'll deal with it later. And I'm trying to live very much touch it once. There's a name for that. Handle it once. There's an acronym or something. But that's just me. I just don't think that there's one way that fits all for everyone. And, obviously we're all doing multiple things. Whatever we're doing is working, but if we could take a little bit of stress off and make it easy, if you're frustrated with your life and you don't like the way you have your piles, then, it's worth it just to invest an hour to try something new.
I will say, Gloria, there's one exception, a fit-all piece that I think works for everybody. And if anybody's used Helmbot, their task management software is absolutely fantastic. Helmbot.com is where you want to go if you want to check this out. Yes, this is a beautiful segue into an ad read, which
but it's
Helm
real.
Is the scheduling's.
It's
I know.
real.
That's why
okay, let me stop you for just a second, okay? Because
didn't we just do this at the FTA?
We did, but hopefully my audio won't go out. But, so the struggle for me sometimes is I'm a big picture thinker, and that's why I don't work in my center. I'm working on it as well, right? And I have tried to really get the team to embrace the tasks over and over again. And then some people want to do the checklists and stuff. It always comes back to being much less effective than if we used Helm. Helm does everything for you. It really does. The tasks, you could set reminders. They have auto generators. You can get a email sent to you if something's not done. I mean, it's unbelievable, right? So even with my husband's business, I think, oh my gosh, I wish Helm could work for this, because I see like the kids working at the front desk that have to take out the garbage and stuff. I'm like, we need Helm to do the task management. So yes, they are our sponsor.
Get the kids to log in.
I'm telling you, I have thought about it. But yeah, they're a sponsor, but for the love of God, if you have...
They also have incredible customer service.
They really do. It's unbelievable.
I love them. And I'd love to know behind the scenes how much of a pain in the ass I really am. Like, how do I compare to others?
Oh, I guarantee I give you a run for your money. Or at least I did.
I hope so.
They're so good.
Yeah. You are competing for the most annoying customer.
I've been totally absent lately, but aren't they amazing?
They're awesome. Yes,
they are awesome,
and I look forward to seeing them at the Float Conference in Portland in August.
Portland,
Maine. That's right.
Helmbot.com. Schedule a free tour. No risk. They're amazing. They're a reason. I mean, we gush about them. We can't stop talking about how positive that software is.
It's legit,
They're
folks.
amazing.
It's legit.
Legit. Perhaps too legit. I mean, certainly too legit to quit, for sure.
For sure.
So I like your question, Gloria, about being, how do you feel? Because I feel like, aside from Kim, we all feel a little bit like an asshat tumbling through life.
Me too.
And
what exactly is an asshat? Can we talk about that?
I think
I'd like to just pause for a minute and really understand.
Just don't Google it.
We need to break that down.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's good.
Yeah. Well, sure. Yeah. There's always a crowd, but let's see here. Yeah, we'll include a link to an image of it.
So back to how we feel.
Yeah. I really appreciate you bringing that up, because I feel like all of us feel a little bit like, oh, we don't have a grip on it. But I look at you guys, I'm like, God, they have their shit together. And you guys are a complete wreck. It's so good to see that. No, I'm kidding, of course. But it's good to know that you guys feel like you could improve as well. And I'm definitely gleaming stuff from this right now. While like Kim's AI, it's so weird to say that, sounds super awesome and something I want to try, because those deadlines are a real thing for me. And just having those alerts pop up would be wonderful. And then hearing you talk, Gloria, about, well, actually that doesn't necessarily work great for me. It's more simplicity is good for me.
Yeah.
Is really interesting to hear, and it makes me go, well, who am I? I'm like Zoolander staring in a reflection. Like,
I think you just have to keep trying stuff, right? You have to keep playing with tools. And what I appreciate about Kim, and I can completely relate, is that we're going to keep trying and tinkering until we find something that sticks for a while. And then guess what? There's going to be something else that comes out that'll get our attention, and we'll be like, oh, shiny new toy. And we'll try that. But, I think the danger that I have personally fallen into in the past, and I've been much better about it probably in the last 5 years, is that I used to spend so much time focused on setting up the systems that by the time the system was set up, I was exhausted. So getting back to the basics was much more productive, right?
Cool.
And so that's just how I manage my day-to-day. And as far as my time management secret, it's working through other people. Like, that's the key. That's the key to my life, is empowering other people to do what they're passionate about, to do what they're good at. And don't try to do everything yourself. Like, I can't tell you how many times people ask, like, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't. I do it through other people. It's other people doing it. It's not me. Yeah. So that's my secret weapon, ninja weapon, is letting go enough to empower others and let people scratch their itch. There are people like Kim who's super passionate about doing organic social media. You heard her if you were on the FDA call tonight. I am miserably miserable doing organic social media, right? I have no interest in it whatsoever. And so I completely trust her to do it. Just like I completely trust Matt Phillips to do my ads now. Like, I just feel like, let people soar with their gifts and get the flip out of their way.
And he's a total nerd about what he's doing, right?
Exactly.
Like, that's who
Find your nerds.
Right. Yes.
The nerds are the best.
So glad I found you guys.
Yes.
So glad.
You guys are my people.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
And to add on to that too, be willing to change. Practicing non-attachment in your own time and task management style. There are times in my life when I've needed a ton of structure. There are times in my life I've needed things that are very fluid. There are times that I need something that works for other people on the team and not just me. There are times that I need one tool, that works well with others. And then I have something else that I'm doing just for my own stuff or for these like fun passion projects that I have on the side. And recognizing that one solution may not fit all of that. And it's okay to change. It's okay to say, you know what, this wonderful little notepad worked really well for me for 3 months, and now all of a sudden I can't stay on that. Like, I need to try something else. And I used to beat myself up a lot. I've tried easily over 50 or 60 project management apps, and not just tried the like quick free trial, but I'm saying like I've invested time in it. And, use those tools. And this is over the course of 10 to 12 years. I've been managing projects in some capacity for a really long time. And the way that I use things is different than how other people do. I'm managing teams. I've got moving parts. I've got all of this complexity that I have to have. Some things are hard deadlines that I have clients who are waiting on things. Some things have to go through approval process. And there's all of these complexities that you may not have, that you don't need something that is so robust as what
Keep
I have.
It simple and relevant.
Yeah, exactly. And, be willing to change. Try something, give it a good, a good authentic run and see, oh, that just didn't work for me. And then be okay changing.
I'm reminded of one more tip. Automate as much as you possibly can. So this is another thing that, like, with this new business we have, I'm trying to look at everything they're doing manually and figuring out, is there a better way to do that through a form that populates a spreadsheet, like a web form, right? So the more you can automate things, the less you have to spend time manually doing them. It's like number one rule, right? Just look for all the things that you're spending time on that are repetitive. I guarantee there's a way to automate it.
Nice.
So,
Cool.
Sidebar. Who knew we could talk about time management for 45 minutes?
We've taken up too much time. I can't manage this.
I'm going to be late for my next call.
So my question, Drew, are you going to do anything different, or are you like, F this shit, I'm out?
No. What's funny is that piece of notebook that Kim held up, I actually I read something or heard a podcast. It was a podcast about, it has a name, and I went and looked for it. I found it, didn't order it, but I thought it was a good idea. So if there's a link, I'm willing to try that. I think it's great. And can I just kind of throw this out there? It sounds like you've given a lot of apps your personal information, and they know where you are at all times. That's part of me not wanting to be on my phone, is to and you said you've used them over 12 years. You gave them the information, then they keep marketing to you. You keep buying the new ones.
Sure.
And it's working.
And she loves it, though.
I don't want to get caught in that
But
cycle.
she loves it.
And
right?
Here's the thing. Yes and no. Yes, I do enjoy getting to see what else is out there, but I don't use most of those on my phone. Just at my computer. And I really do try, if I am on the go, then I'm not doing work stuff. And so I really do try to use my phone just for personal things as much as possible. To the point, I don't even check Facebook Messenger on a regular basis. Sometimes people message me there and it's work stuff, and I feel really bad that I've missed that for a few days. But I had to draw a boundary that, I don't pay attention to my phone most of the time when I'm doing other stuff. So most of it is just on my computer. And then a lot of it, you can actually control some of your privacy settings and all of that stuff too. So there's a lot of movement in the app world to allow you better control of your privacy.
Well, we could have a whole other conversation on notification control and when to check your emails. Like Tim Ferriss is a, expert in this conversation. I learned a lot from his techniques, but that's a whole story for another day. But yeah, it's a valid concern, Drew, but
it is.
I think we're all guilty of sharing our information a little bit too much. I'm definitely guilty of it, having like 350 apps.
We have a Facebook, we're done anyway, right?
Yep.
Yes. And truly, I would rather have an ad that's targeted for me than one that's like completely irrelevant. So
yes.
We're going to get them anyway.
Makeup ads I get on Hulu are targeted right at this guy, for sure.
But what's your favorite eyeliner?
The acid that burns away my crow's feet is my favorite. There is a time that you don't need any notifications or any alerts. That's when you're actually in a float tank. That's when you actually get to take a break. And what better float tank can you get in than an isopod? Yeah, just another smooth segue.
That was good. That was really good tonight.
I feel like you guys were like, I want to talk about how great it is to be in a float tank. Yeah. Isopods are a beautiful float tank. We have 2 of them at the float shop. We had one, and as soon as we expanded, when we expanded, we got one. When we needed to replace our old floatarium, we decided to put in another isopod because the first one works so well. They're a beast. They're efficient. But that's all on the back end of it. Forward facing, everything is friendly. They're extremely spacious. And we get compliments all the time of just, I thought I was going to get into this enclosed little space or whatever. And she's like, this is like a little lap pool. This is a swimming pool. This is spacious. Okay, they don't say swimming pool. But it's way more. And those are 2 very separate things. Floating is very different than a swimming pool. We do not need lifeguards. Just I want to put that out there in case any regulators are listening here. Isopod, we truly believe in them. We love them. And you should just go to i-sopod.com to check them out and, tell them Art of the Float sent you.
Speaking of Art of the Float.
See if they'll give you a discount or something. Yeah.
I saw this amazing podcast with 4 hosts that were really sexy. One had red hair. She's pretty tall, and she was wearing a black T-shirt with Art of the Float on it. Can you? There it is. Look at that. Speaking of swag, we just had our swag episode, and boom, she's throwing it out there. Throwing it right out there.
I don't know why I'm not wearing my Art of the Float tonight.
I know. I have my work clothes on, but I love the shirts, Dylan. Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Are awesome.
It'd be great if we could move some of that product because apparently Art of the Float branded product, not the highest priority for Float Center owners at the moment.
Well, they just don't know about it. When they see how cool Kim looks in her shirt. And,
Totally.
Apparently you need to remind people that you gave people a discount. Does that still apply?
No, that's
it's over.
long gone, Gloria. But it's all a great price anyway. It's all a
good,
great
because
price.
we didn't get one either, so F it.
Please stop bringing that up. For the love of Pete. Oh, man, I'm late. I don't give discounts. I'm just a terrible person. And I'm disorganized. It's great. Just doing awesome. So if you are a Patreon supporter, you always get 15% off.
There you go.
So that is an ongoing deal for anybody who's supporting us on the old Patreon. Let's see here. Speaking of it, I mean, I think it's, shop.artofthefloat.com, or just go to artofthefloat.com and click on the shop button. And we have video clips up there now, and the testimonial videos are the most popular item, it seems. And so we're going to make some more of those. Ivana is the one with Crohn's disease, and she is the one that I work with on those. So we're getting together, and we're getting the band back together and going to make some more of those videos. So really excited about that. And, I want to know what you guys want. By the way, if you made it to this part of the episode and you're interested in float products, let us know what you want.
Buy something.
We're working on... it's not so much...
That was a subliminal message.
Yeah,
Dylan. Just keep going.
Nice. Consume. It's not just... we want you to have the things that you want for your business through us. And we're looking at customizable things like customized stickers, maybe... mugs, put your own logo on it, that kind of thing. So your branding is more present in the stuff that you have at your center and stuff that you can then sell to your customers as well, which would also include T-shirts and whatnot. So that's on the way. Oh, and while I'm talking, damn it, Gloria, got me going. We're working with other people. We had Flux on the show, and part of what we're doing is having artists work with us to put out things like T-shirts, prints, or whatnot. Whatever people want, we can put out. So if there are people in the industry
Are you saying you've got a Flex T-shirt?
There are things in the works. That's all I'm saying. The artist will be Flux. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And
so
the artist gets paid.
T-shirts. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Did that episode with him, was that released yet?
I believe yes. No. I think that was out. My life is a blur. I'm totally disorganized. I don't know.
If you on the video side, if you can see his, he has a great apartment. He was on the video, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I look forward to seeing what he does with his artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Let's see here. I think that's mostly it. Yeah. Thank you guys. Gloria had to drop out there, but Kim, Drew, Gloria.
We'll see if she has her recording.
Thank you guys so much. Thanks you guys for listening. Thanks for supporting us on Patreon. Thanks for checking out the shop as well. Thanks to Mindful Solutions. That's mindful with 2 L's .solutions to go to Kim's all around, I guess, as we're calling it, organic marketing suite, which does also include, as she mentioned in the FTA, something that I check out every week, which is the social media. What do you call it? It's like a scheduler, but also it's like Canva. You can go in there and help change the text or whatever. Everything that's in there that she puts in your queue for your social media, you can either change out the image, change the font, change the words so it suits your style more, or your colors, all that stuff. Although she'll also, if you let her know the colors, she'll make it that way. So anyway, mindful.solutions, they rock. And I think the only other thing we need to say is thank you, Olga. Thank you for producing this show. Thank you so much. You're amazing. And well then, until next time, I think I have a case of the Black Lung Pops. See you next week. It was Zoolander. Come on. Okay, deep cuts. Great.